Okay, it says we're live. I'm going to give it a second to see if it's true because it's usually not. Maybe one of these days I'll learn a better system. All right. All right, guys. Let's start with the bad news. Channels, the live streams are going to be going away for a little while. And I don't know how long a little while is. I don't want to get into all of the details. There's a unfortunately perfect storm of my work, some things that happened at Pappa CARRY'S place, and some other personal matters. And I can't do this right now. Matter of fact, I had to take some time off from dealing with all of these issues to do today's stream. I won't be able to. Morning, Ozzy. Oh, and morning, Squatch. I did see you there. I can't afford to do this for a little while. It's gotten into that situation. The part I can talk about, because it's kind of too late now. A couple of weeks ago, there was a fire that was a whole lot too close to Dad's place. His first clue something was up was the power went out. He went out to start up the generator, and he got a call from a neighbor about there being a fire, a nice big smoke column. In his mind, it was paradise all over again. And he hit the panic button. He called me. I took off, went back to basically rescue Dad. And, I'm halfway home when he realized, oh no, it's not like I thought. Well, by then it was too late. I was out of cell service. So it is what it is, one way or the other. Sorry, guys, I'm going to switch screens. The work thing I'm not comfortable talking about until I know what's really going on. All right. It just is what it is. That said, once I can get back to doing this, I will, and I'm going to be changing the schedule a little bit, and I don't know how yet. One of the things, I can go there. I started this early in the pandemic because I didn't see this ending anytime soon. Well, it has ended. I didn't see that thing ending anytime soon, and it has since then. I have to take a lot of time off of work to do this, and I'm not making that up. Yes, notifications are useless. And now I'm only seeing 2, 3. I think my record now is 5 people watching live. It's not fun, right? I thought about that yesterday and the day before, and then last night, actually, I was watching one of Squatch's interviews where he talks about people really, really enjoying what they're doing. And he's right. And I'm not enjoying this anymore. And I haven't been for a while. I realized that as I'm watching his interview, And I just realized, you know what? I need to walk away for a while. Take advantage of the situation at work. Take advantage of the situation with Dad. When I'm at Dad's place, my internet is kind of sketchy. I don't trust it to do lives. Um, Upload, sure, but an upload I can go into town if I have to. Squatch, I want to talk to you about that, but later, okay? He's asking, what do you enjoy? And actually, I want to talk to you about that later. Either way, it kind of is what it is. Schedule will be changing. I know part of why I don't enjoy this is the interaction. I'm not getting a whole lot, even on the twice monthly Q&A streams. That's really grinding on me. I feel like I'm wasting everybody's time, to be perfectly blunt. And it's time for some changes. That is an absolutely true statement. And that'll bring me into the Daetslov section, because it's going to be interesting. In fact, that's going to bring me to the subject kind of at hand. Joe Biden flatly came out and said we're going to ban assault weapons. What was it, Monday? Maybe it was Sunday. Joe is lying to you. At multiple levels, he is lying to you. First of all, he's lying to you about what an assault weapon is. That period, end of discussion. He's lying. And I want to underscore something here. It's only a lie if you know it's a lie. I do not know that there is or is not a bird sitting on the flagpole of the Eiffel Tower right now, right there on the top. So if I tell you there's a bird standing on top of the Eiffel Tower's flagpole, it might be true. I don't know that it's not true, and it's reasonable that there might be one there, so it's not a lie. It would be a lie if I told you that I have a bird sitting on my shoulder right now. You can see it. Where's my bird? Where's the bird? It's not there, right? That would be a lie. And Joe knows what an assault weapon is, and he is absolutely lying to you about it. They've been banned since before he was born. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's before he was born. Well, okay. He would have to be in well, he'd have to be about 100 years old now. So, and I believe he's in his 80s. They were banned during Prohibition. That's it. That's the simple. All right. While he's been in office, they also did another level of ban, the 1986 Firearms Protection Owners Act, with the Hayes Amendment that was passed literally in the middle of the night so that the rest of the Congress couldn't vote on it. Only the people who knew this was coming were there. Okay. Seems legit. Don't bother lying to me. I've seen the video of the vote being held. Now, hold up. If you know somebody who would be covered by this, give Squatch a shout. That might be helpful. Where was I? Hey, Bernie. You missed the bad news. The lives are going to be going away for a while. You'll have to back up and see the rest of it. Okay. It's just kind of time for a change. Now, what am I going to do until I figured out first of all, what my new life is starting to look like, and second of all, how I'm going to address this? I'm going to be doing a weekly premiere, and it should be scheduled for the regular time, so nobody will see it, or very, very few. So few that I can count them on one hand, and usually not include the second one. That's really part of the problem. I do know that that's part of the problem. I've known that for quite some time. It was what it was. It's not that way anymore. That's part of what I need to address. Okay, Squatch said, we basically argue ineffectively about pointless details while the diversity hire accomplishes everything. I know what he's talking about. All right. But the fact of the matter, Squatch, is that diversity hires aren't accomplishing anything. It's as simple as that. And he says, fuck you. I'm telling the truth. You don't have to like it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I backed up a subject. Joe Biden said he's going to ban the assault weapons, and they've been banned since before he was born. And he helped vote for the second ban, which made it illegal to manufacture a new, quote, machine gun. I know that was a joke, Squatch. After 1986. Right. Forgotten weapons actually touched on this subject a little bit when Ian said that the gun companies put thousands of guns on their books as having been manufactured, even though they weren't. And then the ban came into effect. They hadn't caught up with their own claims. So thousands of guns had to come off the books. Serial number 1234567890123 hadn't actually been manufactured yet, so it's gone. He actually did it in the context of a video about a specific gun, and I can't remember a specific type of gun, and I can't remember. I can't remember the exact one, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Well, this is part of what I'm just so disappointed about. The share function seems to no longer share, having to copy pasta the link. All right. We love you, Susan, you cunt. Knows how to shut a channel down if she really wants to. Well, she really wanted this channel shut down, obviously. So she's kind of going to get what she wants. I won't be disappearing completely. I'm not closing the channel up. But the fact of the matter is, I got to do something different for myself as much as anybody else. It kind of is that simple. Oh, for fuck's sake, I got to keep on topic. That's another reason why I'm having so much. I can't stay on topic. Joe Biden's machine gun or assault weapons ban. He's lying to you. He knows it. He helped get the final nail in that coffin in 1986. And now he says he wants to ban the assault weapons. First of all, he's lying. Second of all, it's not going to do any good. All right. If you've been following this channel for a bit, you should know that there's a video called Gun Control Has Failed. And it's nothing but videos of the ways that people can get around gun control, including one particularly interesting example where a man made a Mac 10, or was it a Mac 11? You know what? I get my Macs confused. But it's a 45 caliber. No, this 9mm pussy shit. No, 45 caliber, 45 APC, bitch. Right? Well, big mistake was to say on video, yeah, I've shot it, knowing that the ATF is out there and we'll eventually hear about it. Hey, Gulch, long time no see. So they found out about it. They came and arrested him, and he's in prison somewhere. I don't know where. I don't know what exactly. I would love to reach out to him and say, hey, come on down. You're a hero. He is legitimately a hero to this channel. Another person I would literally beat any one of you to interview would be P.T. Ludi. It's Peter? I think it was Peter Ludi. But he has passed away. And that's really sucks. I'm sorry, guys. I am catching up on the chat, too. Okay. I'm caught up. It's not going to work anyway. So what's the point? What was the point there, Joe? Well, it was to terrorize you and to scare you and to make you feel like there's a threat behind every blade of grass. Whatever Admiral Yamamoto actually did say, we don't know now because it was a translation of a translation and probably some degree of misquote or misremembered. But he did say something to that effect. So don't put the double quotations, put the single quotations. In English, that means not exact quote. Oh, excuse me. But anyway, he wants you terrified. He wants you scared. He wants you thinking that literally every blade of grass, every pile of trash, everything is a threat to your very existence back 3 generations. If you're terrified, he can keep control. And that's the truth. It's not going to do any good. And I don't believe that it will pass muster with the Supreme Court once it gets there. I just don't. I don't see it happening. Theoretically speaking, let's say that Joe gets control of the Supreme Court. That would be a real neat trick right now. But let's say theoretically he does it. Okay, great. I don't think it'll pass muster with that court either. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court's first and foremost job is to interpret the Constitution versus standing statute law. I don't care what the statute law is. I don't care what the overwhelming goodness of it is. At the end of the day, No statute law can specifically contradict the Constitution. You cannot disband the post office simply by passing a statute. A lot of people don't realize this. Post office is one of the very, very few entities whose existence is specifically stated in the Constitution. Most people don't realize this, but the private for-profit ferry services contravene the Constitution. It's in the same sentence. Nobody's challenged that yet, and I don't intend to be the first. I know of nobody who wants to. It's not. First of all, it's not worth the trouble, and second of all, it'll make a lot of things worse. But the post office cannot be disbanded for real functional reasons. Congress says we're going to disband the post office. That will get a fight that will never, ever end. Okay, I got to go over the chat real quick because I realized I fell way behind. 2 hours, then 2 hours. It's got okay. I want to highlight this real quick. This might just be information lag. For those of you that are gamers, you know that your online gaming, you're like a second or two behind what you actually did. And then the bad guys got you because of lag. I suspect it's probably more to do with that. It's actually worse than that, but that's for a different rant. All right. So, it's not going to pass Supreme Court muster. That's not going to happen. It's not going to pass muster with the Supreme Court. It's not going to happen. Even if Joe does get effective control of the Supreme Court, it's still not going to pass with them. At the end of the day, they do have to sit down and read the Constitution and understand it and then rule. Now, I know. Everybody's about to say, but they won't. And you would have a great point there. For the Supreme Court to say, no, the Constitution is wrong, that would be a new thing. Okay. That would cause a lot of trouble on both sides. Speaking of creating a lot of trouble, and I just got this last night. Mike Lindell was detained, not arrested, so far as I can tell. He was detained at the drive-thru of a restaurant by the FBI. They took his cell phone, nothing else. As far as I can tell, they didn't even really ask him any questions. They just took his cell phone right then and there. They're still left. Iran's puppets in our government. There, I said it. Are starting to expand past the top tier people, Donnie and his immediate advisors, into the second and actually third tier people. Mike Lindell's third tier, all right? He is not even a second tier. I think him and Donnie talked a few times. That's it. There's never been any advice or favors or other discussions. Um, it's nothing. It's just, oh, okay, you're really cool. I love you. You're a great guy. That's about it. Now they're pressing on into those third tier, at least starting to press into those third tier people. Right now, it's just taking a cell phone. That's it. Um, it's not going to be too long until you're going to hear about me on national news, I'm sure. Um, and that's exactly what they want. Now, Ozzy pointed, and no doubt they want a violent response. They can declare martial law, suspend elections. Well, yeah, that's exactly the point. Create a crisis so they can solve it with violence. I'm thinking it's about 6 months away. Excuse me, 8 months away. I'm just going to toss this one up there real quick so it can be seen later on. Okay, so Ozzy knows something I don't. Tim covered it. Identity theft and harm to a computer was the excuse for the warrant on Lindell's cell phone. Not buying it. It's just, yeah, I'm not buying it. Don't waste my time. It's a pretext, nothing more. And you know, I got stopped on a pretext stop once. I talked about this before. I was out and about on my bicycle, and my bicycle was very, very distinctive. Everybody knew about it. The cops can't just stop you to look at your bicycle, right? They have to have a reason to stop you, unless you're already stopped and, hey, I want to talk to you about this or whatever. So he used a pretext about my turning movement to stop me. Even as he's pulling it, because I knew I was impeding traffic. So I got out of the way. I figured he was going to pass me. Right? And then even as he's pulling in behind me, I was like, dude, if you wanted to check it out, just tell me. So he stopped me on this ridiculous turning signal thing. He's checking it out. If he had said, I'd like to go through your settlement, yeah, sure, go ahead. No, there was nothing there. He had nothing. All right. Just say. I'd be happy to let you check it out when I don't have milk in the saddlebags. Same thing with this identity theft and harm to a computer bullshit. They didn't need to take his phone to investigate him as committing identity theft. They didn't need to take his phone to investigate him as harm to a computer. All right? That's bullshit. You know it. We know it. Everybody knows it. They took the phone because there's something else they're actually looking for that they plan on using against him. Well, probably plan on using against him. Hey, Luke. It is what it is. And now that they're dropping this pretense about it just being about the insurrection, they're going to start coming after more and more and more people. All right. Um, okay, I'm caught up. And it's just going to get worse from here. All right. I'm like 99% sure, the possible exception of Alpine, everybody who's watching right now is a Trump supporter. Um, I've never heard Alpine say one thing about it or the other. Um, that you're here indicates probably. I don't like the guy, but I do support him. Fucking asshole is what he is. But that notwithstanding, sooner or later they're going to come after all of us, and you're going to read about me in the papers at that time, because I am not going to surrender to Iran of all fucking places on earth. But yeah, I'm going to hell. I know this. But I sure as shit am not going to march in and let them drag me there. I will walk in with some dignity. I will walk through the gates of hell with some dignity, knowing at least I tried. And I didn't, uh, I tried to avoid this. Or maybe they will have to drag me through at this point. But anyway, I'm not going to go happily. Okay, so that tells me what I half thought. But kind of fuck them all too, in general, to be honest. Is she lying, guys? She's not lying. Okay. Be ready for the worst to come, because I thought it had started. No. It was just the groundwork. Okay, Ozzy, I want to talk to you about that at some other time. You know what? Actually, Ozzy and Squatch, I really want to talk to you about this. Okay. Ooh, excuse me, guys. That was not a belch. Okay. Oh, it's not a burp. Anyway, moving right along. What they did to him was just a sign of what's to come. They're dropping even a pretense of this being about anything other than you were on the wrong side of a ballot. Okay. Right? Good. I have said over and over again, get your get home bag ready. You need to have it ready for any scenario where you might have to run home and leave your car behind and leave buses behind. Right? I can't get into it any more detailed than that, because there's too many situations. What I was just discussing is a possible scenario as well. My greatest nightmare scenario is either 9017, which that's the terror attack I keep talking about, in which case 90% of people will be home anyway. They'll be fine. It's that 10% we're out at the bar or the club or the whatever and get targeted. are in a position to be targeted. To be perfectly blunt, at this point, I kind of wonder why it hasn't happened on purpose. I'm what Joe said about we're going to take your assault weapons. Friday, it's Sunday or Monday, strikes me as a perfect scenario. It's probably the number of people that would need to be involved, and then all have to keep their mouths shut. The only way to keep that many people's mouths shut is to shoot them in the back of the head. And then you have to shoot the people who shot them in the back of the head so that they can never tell who they killed, so nobody can ever draw a conclusion as to why. The next people up in the line, they don't even know why they killed somebody. They were paid to kill somebody, and they did it. All right. Oops, sorry, guys. But that notwithstanding, my next worst case scenario would be natural disasters, because there's nothing you can do to stop a natural disaster from happening. And natural disasters have a very bad habit of becoming man-made disasters as people seek to profit from it. All right. The 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, the Battle of the Bay earthquake, the San Francisco earthquake, whatever you want to call it. Within minutes of the earthquake, there was looting. That happened. Whether you believe it or not, yes, that happened. There were also rapes and murders and robberies. Many of the robberies were later attributed to panic, but the rapes and the murders can't be attributed to panic. That's a bullshit argument, if ever there was one. There will always be people who will take advantage of this situation to profit themselves. And that is one of my nightmare scenarios. It's actually worse than 9017 in a way, because there's nothing you can do to actually stop it from happening. So it becomes that much easier to take advantage. Sorry, guys. I gotta move that. Okay, there we go. So get your get-home bag ready. Bare minimums. What do you need? Water, enough food to make it overnight, warm clothes for the night, cool clothes for the day. Ironically enough, one of the things that affects both is sleeves. For your arms, the same sleeves that will keep the sun off your arms will also prevent the wind from crawling up your shirt sleeves, or at least as easily, so you don't have that cold draft climbing up your arms. Okay, whoa. The Oakland Police or Oakland District Attorney's Office concurred with that opinion. Oh no, Kerry knows what he's talking about. Actually, it wasn't Oakland District Attorney's, but the county's district attorney concurred with that opinion. Ozzy says, we know DARPA wants to weaponize natural disasters. That's new one on me. Very funny, Bernie. All right, moving right on. So, natural disasters. The worst case scenario, of course, is a terror attack. The next one is natural disaster. You can't really stop from happening. And people will exploit it. And, people will exploit a 9017 as well. Or anything where chaos can be created. It's another fact of the universe. Bare minimum. Food to get overnight. Or water. Food to get overnight. Warm and hot and cold weather appropriate clothes. Some sort of comms. And for this short period of time, your cell phone should be good enough. The cell phone network takes at least a couple days to collapse on itself. It should be good enough for that time frame. Goggles to protect your eyes from debris. And yes, a mask. I know people don't like the mask. I don't even like the mask. Bare minimum to get past the Karens. Okay, yeah, because there will always be a fucking Karen no matter what you do. But there's also another scenario you might want to have it for. And I didn't even think about this until a couple days ago when I thought about 1989. The earthquake. You might want to have a mask to protect yourself from silica dust. That's a fancy word for glass that has been shattered so thoroughly that it's actually turned to microscopic or at least inhalable particles. You do not want to get that glass into your lungs. You really don't want to do that. And concrete dust. That's even worse because the concrete has carcinogens in it. Flag on the play. Not all carcinogens are the same. Asbestos, when it's in a brick, is perfectly safe. But when you smash that brick up, it becomes very unsafe. All right? That's the truth. Sorry, guys. I gotta back this up real quick. Ozzy, in reference, I think, to my cold and hot clothes, thermal long sleeve pants, $70. Whew, that's a lot. I don't. I think that's a little bit more than we're talking about here. I'll go back and check though. But you know what? Even $70 is worth your life. Not saying he's wrong. All right. This is a question. Alpine, should seeds be included in a get the fuck out bag? Alpine, that's more of a bug out bag territory. If you want to talk about bug out bags, I would recommend you start with Ghost Tactical. He's probably forgotten more about that subject than I have ever heard. I have no idea what Ozzy's talking about here. And the longest word in the English language refers to a cancer from volcanic glass dust inhaled into the lungs. I did not know that. I do know about the volcanic glass, and I do know it can be pulverized down into dust, which is how I first learned about pulverizing glass into dust. I did not know that it specifically is cancerous. That a little bit of it. I knew it was very, very bad. I must have forgotten that it's cancerous. And I did not know that it was the longest word in the English language. Okay. Apparently a nationwide communications network was down for 25 hours up in Canada. This is the first I've heard about it. I've never heard about this before, and I'm going to stand by my previous statement. It'll take about 48 hours for the cell phone network in general to go down. Now, there will be outlier areas like Pappa CARRY'S lives. There's no cell signal out there. All right. I could still get a text message out, but if I sent that message the moment I left Pappa CARRY'S house to him, I could literally walk from Pappa CARRY'S house into part of Reading, going the long way, or the short way rather. I could walk from Dad's place to the outskirts of Reading, and the message would have just arrived. Even though my phone says sent, it's literally arriving as I get to roughly the precast concrete company. Yeah, about there. No, probably the Costco container. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this. This is a real problem. It will happen in the future. Apparently, that network went down because of an update to software. Test your updates before you implement them. It's not actually that hard. You can have a standalone system that does nothing but that. Fucking Bethesda must be there. Rogers must be owned by Bethesda. Okay, moving along. You want to have your mask partly to protect yourself from what's out there. That has nothing to do with the coronavirus. That's not a damn thing. Concrete dust is a carcinogen. Don't breathe it in. It's why construction workers, when they're smashing up concrete, are required to wear masks, and they usually don't, and then their employer eventually ends up getting fined for it. Oh, excuse me. Usually ends up getting fined. I did not know glass dust is carcinogenic. Maybe it's only specific types of glass dust. I'm just going to go there. But it is not. You do not want to get glass dust into your lungs. You will pray for cancer because a cancer will eventually kill you. That will not, and you'll suffer for the rest of your natural life. You do not want that. It's kind of separately related. Most of the people who have died since 9/11, who were at ground zero, have died of cancers. That's the truth. A slight flag on the play is that when the World Trade Center was built, asbestos was still legal, mercury was still legal, lead was still legal, all of these other things were still legal to be used. The rules have since changed. the lead paints and the asbestos paneling and all of that other crap, that it's legitimately so dangerous. They don't tear it down usually. They usually paint over it or cover over it with a material that will hold it intact, hopefully forever, so it's no effect. One of the units I was at, there was absolutely, hey, Totes, long time no see, bro. You're just going to have to catch up. It was openly acknowledged that there was asbestos in our building. Right? They didn't even pretend it wasn't there. Building had been out of service. It had been built as housing. Well, they closed up the building as housing for unrelated reasons. Flash forward about 20 years, and they discovered asbestos is really, really dangerous. It had been used as a warehouse in the meantime. Well, okay, now we've got to reopen it because we've got this unit that absolutely needs a building. Just period. End of discussion. They need a building. This building isn't going to cut it either, but it's what we have available right now. You're going to have to figure out how to make it work. Okay. And there's asbestos in it. So they wouldn't let us fully move in. They wouldn't let us use certain parts of the building because they were still, there's still asbestos everywhere. Until they painted the building, and they used some sort of special chemical. Or special paint. What I know about it, basically it's rubber, vulcanized rubber paint. The moment that stuff cures, it's like vulcanized rubber. All right. They were going to do some other things, but I wasn't there at that point. I had left the unit. In case anybody's interested, Ozzy put up the word for the longest word in the English language. He says it's 45 letters, and I don't know. That's a lot of letters. I'm not going to argue. Actually, I will get to that in a minute, Alpine. So, if it's still stable, it's great. How stable is a building after an earthquake? How stable is a building after a wildfire rips through the city? That happened up in Canada first, people. It's, what was it? 2005, 6, something like that. I'm pretty sure it wasn't even the teens yet. How stable are the buildings in that city? Up on Gulch, wouldn't that mean that all of New York City that was in the dust has cancer? They all have a potential. Yeah. And chemically induced cancers have a bad habit of you can't predict what they're going to do. There are people who smoked Lucky Strikes for 80 years and died in their triple digits. And there are people that smoked Marley ultralights for 10 years and died of lung cancer, inoperable lung cancer. I can't predict things that I cannot predict. Okay, so moving right along. You don't want to get that shit in your lungs, as Ozzy pointed out. 45 letter long were just for that. Yikes. Mesothelioma. I was in parts of the building that had not been retrofitted yet without a mask. I've been exposed to asbestos other ways. So, yeah, I mean, it's not impossible. And by the way, I was in a lighthouse where there was asbestos and lead paint. We're chipping it away. And there were points where I pulled my mask down so I could get a clear breath of air. I admit it. I did that. So I probably did breathe in some asbestos and lead. It happens. By the way, they didn't tell us that the asbestos and lead and mercury in the ship itself had not been abated the way they said it had been. Okay, I'm caught up. Get a mask, get a mask, get a mask, get a mask, get a mask. All right. For that purpose, double masking may not necessarily be a bad thing. It's not just because of Karen, people. It's also about you keeping yourself safe long enough to regret being here. Ozzy, sarcasm never helps. Bernie, sarcasm doesn't help. Moving right along. Listen, if you don't think you need it, if you think you're outside of the dust zone or the tear gas zone, because I goddamn guarantee once this crisis starts and something begins to follow behind it, tear gas is going to come out. You do not want to be breathing tear gas in either. Squatch, sarcasm doesn't help. And thank you for proving you're not a retired troll. You're still working part-time. You don't want to get the tear gas. You don't want to breathe in the tear gas. You don't want to get it in your eyes. Masks and goggles. It's just long enough to get home, guys. That's all you really need to worry about. Just long enough to get home. Then once you're home, you can burn this stuff. If I was in Reading when this shit hits and I couldn't drive home or drive to Pappa CARRY'S, I still call it home because that's where I grew up. So, you. That would be an overnight trip for me. It would take me, unless it hit literally like 0800, I would probably still be marching well into dark. Yeah, I might be able to make it there before I pass out on my feet, but it would definitely hurt. Now I still have that advantage. I could bring my bike from home. I should do that. Not everybody has that option. It kind of as simple as that. I'm sorry, guys. It's better to die trying than to try dying. Seaman Recruit, Carry, 1999. My company commander wanted me to quit, and I said, no, it's better to die trying than to try dying. And he all of a sudden stopped fucking with me hard. The next time I talked to him, I'd had some trouble in training. Just leave it at that. Next time he talked to me, he said, when you get out of here, I'm going to buy you a beer. Oops, I just had some selective memory problem. Damn that selective amnesia. It only comes and goes when I want it to. I don't remember his name now. Smartass. Moving right along. Have your bag ready. Listen, it doesn't have to be this huge thing over here. This is a joke for a bug out. It's for a get home bag. This is kind of a joke for a bug out bag too. There's shit in here. Even a bug out bag should never need. Oh, well. Okay, you know what? I can't actually point to anything specific and say, no, that's bullshit. There's several things in here that are so redundant. It's like I got 5 different ways of making light so that you can see my position. 5 ways of making lights so you can see me or you can see where I am. Do I need all 5 of them? No, I don't need all 5 of them. That's ridiculous. 2? Yeah, maybe. 3? No. So I wouldn't even need 3. Okay. Okay, smartasses. Squatch, you should start another channel, just a totally separate channel, right? Not Sasquatch, Caucasian Sasquatch, but like Squatch, the Squatch channel, just for you and Ozzy and Bernie and maybe Totes to get together and, be smartasses. It's great. I've created another monster. Where was I? Enough to get home. Okay? Enough to get home. Enough to get home. Enough to get home. Enough to make it overnight. And I think me and Totes can testify to this. Good way to test it. Well, not Totes, but for me and the rest of you, I don't need to test this. Get in your car one night. Drive off to some place where you won't be bothered. Sleep in your car overnight and see what went wrong. It's a great place to start. Ozzy, I've got what I've got. It is what it is. I'm sorry. There you go. Ozzy, you're going to hire Squatch to be the manager of your new channel. That way, Squatch doesn't actually have to change users every time. How about that? Not really a flag on the play. It's not a secret that I'm Fix Bayonets' manager, channel manager. I do all of her uploads because she says she can't. Okay. But she can mysteriously use faces. Come on. But it's easier to just do it than to argue with her. Okay, so Ozzy has a better idea of sleeping in a car overnight. Good for you. Just do it a couple times, see what went wrong, what went right, and go from there. Then you'll know if your kit's ready or not. Right. I'm going to stop this screen because I'm going to stop this screen. Thank you. Because there's something that has come up. And just leave it at that for a moment. Normally, when I do a reading of Daetslov, it's in order. And last week, I think it was section 3. I should be going into exemptions this week, but I'm skipping back a few weeks to section 7. Carrie, why are you going back a few weeks? Didn't you just cover this 2 streams in a row, we think? Yes. But times change quickly. Section 7, limitations and provisions of liability. Let me move that. Okay. Any person acting in accordance with the provisions of this act and in good faith may not be held criminally liable for reasonable and prudent acts thereof in the use of any weapon in self-defense or defense of others, nor may be held liable for unintended, unforeseeable, or unavoidable consequences of another party's actions. Stop. If you were acting reasonably and prudently, hold up. Let me actually make sure that this is right. Okay. If you were acting prudently, all right, you didn't spray and pray into a guy with a knife in the middle of a crowd, right? Great, good for you. And something you could not have foreseen, predicted, or avoided, it's not going to be on you. It's going to be on him until they can prove that, yeah, well, no, actually that was intentional. There's always going to be a true and through that happens. And somebody else ends up getting shot and killed for it. Ends up dying from your bullet that was a true and through to the guy with the knife. That's not going to be on you. And to underscore this a little bit, the shooting, I think in Los Angeles, when the cops shot a guy running around with a gun, turned out it wasn't a gun, but I could see why people calling 911 called it a gun. And they finally had him, they thought, cornered in an empty Macy's, I think it was. And the cop took the shot, and the shot went through particle board right into the head of a 14-year-old girl. Yeah. This would have covered that cop. This would have put everything on the guy who started the problem by hitting people over the head with apparently a bicycle lock. Right? This is still on him. It's not on the cop. He could not have predicted there was somebody hiding in the fitting room because he was told the building was clear. He was told the space was clear, that that's what they had been trying to do. Corner this guy long enough to get everybody else out of the way and then take him. That's not on. Guys, I don't care how much you hate cops. This one's not on him. That would same protection apply to you. No person acting otherwise in accordance with the provisions of this law and the state within which they are located at a given time may be held civilly liable for actions taken under this act, except when said person acted under circumstances wherein they are successfully prosecuted. Okay. You can't be held criminally or civilly liable if you're acting appropriately. You can only be held civilly liable if you are criminally held criminally liable. That's a lot of protection. That's going to hurt some industries. Like I'm talking about civil attorneys. Yeah, fuck you. All right? You deserve to be hurt. Manufacturers of any product listed under or applicable to this act may not be civilly liable in any matter related to this act, to the exclusion of defective products, defects in materials and or workmanship, and foreseeable design defects. This goes back to the trouble Ruger had a few years ago about the sears on their hammers failing left and right. I don't know where the problem started. I only know where it ended, which is the sears on their hammers were snapping off and hammers were falling. Huh. Okay. Now I'm going to skip this next paragraph for a moment and go on to the last one as soon as that helicopter passes. No person acting in good faith under this act may be held criminally nor civilly liable for the act of another. Any weapon stolen from a person, their home, or vehicle having been reported as such to law enforcement in a timely manner after discovery and subsequently recovered under whatever circumstances said discovery are made shall have said weapon returned promptly and shall not face any other ramifications thereof. That's a big fuck you to California and Massachusetts, where if your gun is stolen from your car, or in California from your house, you're going to go to prison for it. Now, the theory is sometimes, this is sometimes true. You sold your gun on the black market, all right? And now your gun turns up 10 years later. Yeah, that does happen. It's called the straw purchase. All right. You know what? If you reported it stolen, it's reported stolen. That's it. Now I'm going to go back one paragraph. No private person or concern may in any way interfere with, nor record, nor track the lawful business of another private party, except as provided for under this act, under the direct order of a competent jurist in the course of a criminal proceeding. Any company that violates this clause may be fined not less than $10 million per transactional violation. Any private person who does so or authorizes another body to do so shall be found guilty of a felony punishable by 20 years in prison plus an additional 6 months per transactional violation completed. That means if you violate any part of this, your company will be fined bare minimum $10 million. You personally, and anybody below you told to do it, or anybody above you who told you to do it, will be going to prison for 20 and a half years. You'll be out in about 5 under some circumstances. But right here, nor record nor track. Just a couple days ago, the MasterCard, Visa, and 2 others, I can't remember who off the top of my head, announced that they would be tracking gun sales. You won't be doing that anymore. This whole paragraph was a response to Chase Bank's decision that they would no longer honor purchases, internet purchase, any purchase using a Chase Manhattan Bank card. Operation Choke Point. No. You have no right to tell somebody else that they cannot use their own money to make a purchase. especially for something you are legally required to have. All right, I am going to share the screen, get back into that rant, make sure everything is. First, I'm going to go over the chat, make sure I don't lose anything important. Oh, the Matrix is glitching. 30. Okay. What? Okay. Okay. We're going to start with the questions related to the Daetslov or issues. Okay. Now, what can be done about somebody in dispatch passing on wrong info when they were told otherwise? If they lie about facts, then IQ does not apply. Well, you know what? Good dispatching, good communications, good dispatchers. If the dispatcher is told there's a gun, she repeats, there's a gun. I've done that. I've been in that position before. I was told something that was not true. Right? One of my favorite stories from the Guard about who was going to jump in the water started with the comms watch standard, which is the best analogy I can make for you is dispatching was told there's a car in the water and there's people in the car. My shipmate would tell us afterwards that the position reported sounded a lot like a car that ran off the levee road the day before or the day before that. And she had asked them twice if they were sure there was somebody in the car. And they said yes. So me and Tug took off at well above the posted speed limit. And Tug's telling me if one of us is getting in the water, it's going to be you. And I'm struggling to get the life vest on. I know. I know. Right? We were told the wrong thing. Our comms watch standard told us exactly what she was told. We cannot find any fault with her. If you report it stolen and take insurance, that is fraud and filing false police report. Well, it's filing a false police report either way. And it's insurance fraud if you file an insurance claim. If you don't file an insurance claim, I guess it's not insurance fraud, is it? Bernie asks, do you fear the person who has several guns more than one or two people who only have one gun? No, I fear the two who have guns more than the one. But I'm not sure I'm terribly concerned about the two either. I'm going to highlight that one, all right. If y'all knew half of this story, you'd be absolutely incensed. All right. There was no accident. It was murder, period. Intentional murder. But what do I know? Okay, welcome back, Gulch. I want to underscore this point really, really hard. This decision by the credit card companies that you can still buy guns and gun-related products using their service, you can still do that, but they're going to track you? No. They have the only way they can track you, other than the normal course of financial business, is with a court order. Now, if they keep tracked on your hotel, paying for a hotel room for 20 years, well, okay, then they track everything you do for 20 years. Great. They don't get to pick and choose which industries they're going to let do what. We love you, Susan. You cunt. Ozzy says credit card tracking purchases soon enough, cash sales of guns to be made illegal, and he might be right. I'm going to tell you all the absolute truth. This is nothing more than an attempt to create another gun registry for private use. It's one thing to have it for the state's use to track where the guns really are. Hey, we got a Glock 27 out there that was used in a murder. Okay, great. Who might have Glock 27s? There's a big long list, guys. Well, do the three suspects we have in mind, do any of them have a Glock 27 registered in their name? Yeah, one of them does. Okay, let's go talk to him. That's not exactly the same as, hey, I really want to get my hands on an M16, and I have this nice long list of thousands of people who have them. I wonder which home I could break into. Ooh, I can break into this one and this one and that one and that one. I can get me a lot of M16s real quick. There's a huge difference. We love you, Susan. There is a huge difference between an evidentiary log for actual investigations and a private log. One of the great dangers, and this is something California just had to deal with, that privately kept log could get out. Let's just make up the name. It's who was my last commenter? Okay, so Ozymandias credit card company gets hacked, and they have their own log of everybody who bought Ruger 10 millimeters. 10 millimeter Ruger revolvers. What's going to happen? Oh, yeah, that's probably a bad thing, right? Ozzy also points out how the RCMP raided homes evacuated for forest fires and took the firearms. He might have, I want to say that was the week before I got COVID, maybe 2 weeks before that. He did specifically say something about cops looking for guns. I can't look you all in the eye and say it was because of fires, but I do remember him saying something about cops looking for guns under conditions where the owners wouldn't be able to stop them. Yeah, I think it was fires. It's also over a month ago, guys. Bear with me. And I do remember saying something about that happened during Katrina too. I know what that means. I'm going to move on. Um, Firefighters should never be taking anything out of a location where they are responding if it's not part of the fire itself. How about that? Leave it at that. Um, oh, Ozzy, it doesn't matter. That's not the only example. Katrina happened in Katrina too. So you don't need to fight to prove that case. It's already proven beyond anything you could ever try to do. Unfortunately, there, I said it. It's already proven beyond you. Not mad. I swear I'm not. I'm furious, but I'm not mad. It's a huge difference. Right. So moving right along. Where was I? This new revision to Daetslov will make it absolutely illegal for the credit card companies to be keeping their own little records. I'm going to say this out loud. I leave open the door for them in the normal course of business, which means they treat guns just like hotel rooms, just like Gatorade, just like your garbage disposal fee. If you pay that with a credit card and they keep records of that for 20 years, great. They keep everything exactly the same. Anything else would be flatly illegal. And if I have to raise that standard one more time, I will. That the records will be comprehensively destroyed up to and including tossing the hard drives that was on into an incinerator, turning hard copy into an incinerator, turning every single possible copy, tossing every single possible copy into an incinerator. Yeah, fine, fuck you. I'll go there. I feel it doesn't even bother me. It will be illegal for them to do that in the future. Now, you may have noticed as you were reading along with me that section was italicized. Well, in the .doc itself, it is not italicized now. I just did that for the stream. I didn't even have to get into the second sentence to know that the rhetoric coming from our leaders worse than yours. He's right. Everything Justin does is a lie. He does everything he can to amplify the lie. Hate crimes. Well, second word of the second sentence, and I already knew he was telling the truth. Hate crime laws soon to be applied to questioning or criticizing the government, especially the PM or former PMs, prime ministers, guys. I will not take that bet because I won't take that bet because it's already there. But it's more of the game trail that's going to become a super freeway here in 6 months. Might be a little on the short side. A year. Of course, in a year's time, in 6 months' time, it'll probably become a paved road, paved highway. But in a year, it'll be a super freeway where if they think your statement doesn't sound right, off to prison with you. Sorry, guys. The Jack just started his generator, and I'm not sure why. Okay. Fires in big cities make records disappear. The 1860 Chicago fire, for example. That is true. Okay, I can't speak to that specifically, Ozzy, so I'm going to leave it where it is. You know, this is something I always find kind of startling is I have more non-American supporters than American. That has always startled me. I never really will understand why exactly. Oh, here we go. Be careful with that kind of talk, Bernie. I know what he's talking about. Ozzy says all he did was talk to the truckers. I'm not sure if he's speaking which specific person he's talking about, but me and Ozzy actually met via the Viva Free channel, and what David did was he went up to Canada. He talked to truckers and other people, and the Canadian government has been harassing David ever since. They've never come out and arrested him. I have to be careful what else I say. But they started harassing him immediately. I believe it was within a couple weeks after his first trip. They're also harassing his brother. That's a little less private information. David's brother is also an attorney. They tried to arrest him right there at the scene. Oh, wow. Ozzy, what is David's brother? What's his name? I forgot. They actually started to arrest the man right there at the bridge rally. Now, granted, the bridge rally was a little bit more intense than the rest of the trucker rally, which was, I think, 200 miles away. The people at the bridge closed the bridge. Right? That's it. They were done. They were closing the bridge as part of their protest. Whereas up in Montreal, was it Montreal? They didn't close the city, but they made damn sure everybody on Earth knew they were there. Okay, well, thank you anyway, Ozzy. All right. Actually, I want to go over something. Earlier, Alpine Gold said, fires in big cities make records disappear. And a little bit further on, Ozzy says, spring flooding, very good for losing records. Well, that's partially true. One of the lessons of the Murrah bombing, have backup records. The internet's still kind of in a, toddler phase at that point, but they had figured out how to transfer records massively and store them massively, very efficiently at that point. The records that had been at the Murat building on the day of that bombing, the ones that had been generated that day were destroyed. Those are gone. Yeah, I don't even need to ask what the record was. It doesn't matter. But records as old as 48 or as new as 48 hours had been backed up. So those were not lost. The internet, to be perfectly blunt, is in its rebellious teenage years right now. And even at this point, they can transfer records that fast in real time if you know how to do it. You can have 3 different servers literally recording each keystroke as you make it, and then when you hit the save button, they might still have those keystrokes, they might not. Watch this. Yeah, I can't do it here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going to skip that. As I'm sitting there typing, I'm a government employee, and I'm transcribing a court hearing, right? I have the audio recording, and I have my steno notes. I'm turning those into a final typed report. As I'm typing away, you would be able to watch me make spelling and grammar errors. The computer's recording those spelling and grammar errors. When I go to save it, those other 3 servers, one is here in Reno, one is, let's say, Portland, Oregon, and another is Bismarck, North Dakota. They're actually recording those mistakes, right? If you really, really wanted to, you could go back and see my spelling and grammar mistakes. They can do that. They don't do that because who cares about the mistake if you fixed it before you submitted the report? Ozzy, you should do a video on that specifically. Guys, I want each and every one of you to tag Ozzy and say, and tell him to make this video and upload it. I think we could all and I want to badger on this because this is a YouTube thing. This is not a cell phones thing. Because of an update to YouTube, what was it, 2 months ago? No, it was more than 2 months ago. Oh, wow. I think it was back in March, April, May. You cannot see the chat and a stream at the same time, or a premiere at the same time. When Fix watches a live stream or a premiere, she's actually got to watch on her phone and chat on Angel's phone, which is why she's kind of dependent upon me to alert her that a stream is coming up. Never kiss, promise. Blue fascists not better than red fascists. That is one of the truest things I've heard in a long time. Alpine can't do it. She's on her phone. Just say Alpine, just say Ozzy, make that video. Um, that should do it. Moving right along. All right. Joe is lying to you. Assault weapons have been banned since before he was born. Um, he voted for the second ban. So, fuck you, Joe. You lying, cock-sucking piece of dog shit. Not that I'm mad. Sorry, guys. Get your get-home bag ready. If it isn't, you're really hurting. Your get-home bag should be as large as a medium, maybe large women's purse. Credit card companies are lying to you to push their agenda because they're keeping a record so they can go back and reverse those charges later when it becomes more convenient to, to the agenda. 9017 is coming. I don't know when. And I don't know what the scope will be at this point. Oh. Huh. Ozzy has a wrench. And wow, that's okay. We just learned something new thanks to Alpine. Let me see if I can copy the link. This is Ozzy's channel. And oops. Okay, I'll take care of that. And yes, I am an asshole, so I'm over it. Wow. Guys, I was under the impression that you could see the channel for anybody in the chat, but apparently you can only go to channel if you're a moderator. I wonder if that's a subscription level thing, because I can do it on most other channels. That's very interesting, and I'm not happy. Very interesting means I'm not happy. All right. Joe's lying to you. Credit card companies are trying to play you for fools. Where was I? 9017 is coming whether you believe it or not. All right. Coronavirus was probably an attempt to get a poor man's nuke. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Bioweapons have been referred to as the poor man's nuke. The danger is that nuke will blow back in your own face. So everybody agreed not to do it. 1968, I think. Maybe it was 65. Well, now somebody did it. Whether it was Iran or China or somebody else, doesn't even matter at this point. I know it was Iran, but that's not the point here. Somebody still did it. And it is what it is now. And we're going to have to deal with this for the rest of humanity. Even if we do leave this planet, the virus itself will follow us because it's in us now. It's never going to go away now. The only upside is this experiment proved that genetic engineering doesn't is not predictable. You don't want to go there. Okay, Bernie knew something I did not, and I am not happy about that. We love you, Susan, you cunt. What the fuck is your major malfunction? I got to make everybody a moderator on my channel now, just so they can see who's out there. The hell is your problem? Explain this to me. Use small words. What the hell are your major malfunctions? And put them in alphabetical order so I can go look them up later. Yeah. Totes says COVID was a hoax. No, not exactly. Totes, you were MIA at the time. I just got over COVID, and it hit hard. Actually, I think it hit harder this time than it did the first time. I was actually in a stream, and I'm sitting here not feeling great, and then I'm getting cold. I don't remember getting cold first time, excuse me. And then I was sick, and I was literally down for a week. This is the second stream since I actually recovered. Yeah, this is the fourth stream since I recovered, but it's the second stream since I officially something or othered recovered. Ozzy emailed me about that. So no, COVID was real. It was a very real thing. And it really did kill people. And it would have killed a lot more people if we had not done the things we needed to do when we needed to do them. And now it's being used as an excuse for a lot of other things. Probably just nuked my own channel by saying that, but oh well, I'm over it. I mean, knowing it's coming from over a year. All right. Oh crap, I gotta wrap this up, guys. All right, the bad news is these streams are going to be going away, at least for a while. They're going to come back some way, somewhere in the future. In the meantime, during the regular time frame, will be a premiere, just until I can figure out exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. I'm not going to say that out loud because I don't need to nuke my channel this way, but you know, what you see, you see. Hey, Foss, you're just in time for the bad news review. Joe's gun ban is not going to pass muster in the end, but it will. It's going to be a long, hard fight. Credit card companies, what they're doing, it's not going to pass muster, I believe, when all is said and done. But it's going to be a long, hard fight. That's the and that's the purpose. All right. The 2A organizations don't have billions of dollars behind them. They can make this fight last a very, very long time. This is a prayer to those of you watching. If you have any kind of influence, if you can talk to those in the industry who make decisions, I'm just going to go there. Please tell them about what I'm doing, and specifically about the Section 7 limitations of liability It'll be in the pinned comment. So you can just copy and paste and say, excuse me, I'm going to pick on Foss because he was the last comment that I can see. Danger Mouse Foss Gun Company, manufacturer of guns, obviously. Hey, could you take a look at this? See, there's this crazy guy out there who, yeah, I mean, he wants to make guns mandatory, but you might want to think about backing this guy up or at least talking to him and hearing him out. Here's what he wants to do for you. Ta-da! It is specifically illegal to keep records on gun purchases. It is specifically illegal to stop guns purchases. It is specifically, oh my God, this would be a game changer. Okay. Yes, I smoke like a factory. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and. Oh, I did. I can't say that out loud, but if you see it, you see it. Moving right along. The point was taken. But moving right along. Get your get home bag ready. If it's not already, you know what? Go out today and do something and get it started. Daetslov is limitations and provisions of liability. Yeah, which basically says, no, you can't stop anybody unless a judge specifically demands it. And you can't sue anybody if they don't go to prison for it. And the channel's bad news is I have to go away for a little while. No, I'm not going to prison. I'm not going to jail. It's about money and family. And I've really got to wrap this up. I really, really do. And I don't even have to piss this time. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I do got to wrap this up at this point. I want to remind you to keep calm and mandatory carry on.